Hi there, and thank you very much indeed for watching this short video on Japanese gardens and things to understand when creating one. I hope this little video will give you some great ideas. First up, you've got to study and know your subject. I'm not talking about going to university or gardening school or anything, but read some books, search online, go to Japanese garden websites. There's a couple coming up of ours that you can visit, and we'd love you to do that. And just get an idea where in your yard or garden you would like to locate your Japanese style garden. Find an area of your garden where you think, oh, it'll look nice there, and that's reasonably simple to do. Hopefully you've got a little bit of space. You don't need a huge space for a Japanese garden at all. They are perfect small gardens. And then just get a sheet of A4 paper from your printer, pencil and a rubber, and just sketch it out. I use about 1 inch or 1.5 centimeters to represent a foot of garden, and you can really have some fun laying out the ideas where your trees and shrubs and rocks and maybe a gravel area would go, and the boundaries and what have you. It really is good fun, and more to the point, it's very useful when you come to actually doing it for real. Pick a theme or a type of Japanese garden that you're keen on. It could be a Zen garden. They're very, very popular. Those are the ones with rocks and gravel, maybe a little bit of moss, usually set within a rectangular area. You might want to build a hillside garden, or if you're really ambitious, a tea garden with a gate and then a path that would lead to a tea house, and visitors would pass by shrubs and trees and other features on the way. But you must have focus, so you need a clear idea of what sort of Japanese garden you would like, and there are around about 5 or 6 that you can get to choose from. Think about things like, do you want a water feature? Ponds are great, but they have to be built correctly and they have to look natural, and nature doesn't have a perfectly rectangular pond or rectangular pond. So you're going to want to work out a shape, and you're going to need to leave the water once you've built your pond to settle for a couple of weeks, because if you want plants and fish in it, the pH rating is very, very important. Obviously a good pump is a must too, and try not to put a pond in too shady an area under trees. Think of the leaves in the fall and your poor pump, which will get pretty much ruined. But the idea in a Japanese garden is to have a natural looking water feature. You won't ever see a fountain in a real Japanese garden, or not the sort of fountains that we understand in the West, a sort of ornamental fountain. They just don't exist. Decide on the types of plants you would like to put in your garden, and you place them on the drawing in the spots that you feel that they'll look best. Remember, we spoke about that A4 sheet of paper, and this is what you're going to come back to, because this is going to be the be-all and end-all, if you like, of your Japanese garden design. You can use small trees, you can use shrubs that are low level, you can use bamboo, which can grow really quite high. Black bamboo is a great idea. And you can pick plants and shrubs. It's very much up to you what you want to put in it, but bear in mind that a Japanese garden has to reflect the 4 seasons, and that is, in the fall they've got to look nice. You want a bit of evergreen in there, for example, but you can certainly find out a lot more about what to put in a Japanese garden at one of our websites, which is called the JapaneseGardenClub.com. What are the elements that are involved when you make a Japanese garden? Well, the stone, rock, trees, water, which can be wet or dry. More about that a little bit later on. You've got your plant choices, pathways. You might want stepping stones, you might want a little bridge. Dry water is gravel or sand, and you've probably seen those Zen gardens, or Japanese rock gardens as they're sometimes called, where the gravel is raked in swirls, and that is to symbolize the movement of water within the body of water, the waves, to put it simply. Then there's plants and trees. Do you want maples, azaleas, bamboo, cherry blossom, camellias, moss, iris? The list goes on and on, but they're all beautiful and perfect for a Japanese garden. As I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, bear the seasons in mind when you plan your garden. Just imagine how it's going to look in the changing seasons in relation to the placement of your various plants and shrubs and trees in your garden. All 4 seasons have to be reflected in a Japanese garden if you're going to do it properly. Of course, there are no hard and fast rules for you. If you just want a Japanese style garden, you might not be too concerned about that. But you need to pick the elements that reflect that if you want to stay true to the principles of Japanese garden design. Landscaping correctly. Oh my goodness me, this is important to make the planting of plants and trees much easier. You've got to lay them out in your garden, in their pots, in the spots where you've planned them on your little map that we talked about at the beginning of the video, and just see how they look. You can even sink the pots into the larger holes and just have a look how they actually look before you actually finally plant them. This will give you a really good opportunity to see how they look in your garden, and if you don't like the way that they're placed, you can obviously change them and put them somewhere else. And stones and rocks, you can do that as well. In fact, I actually plan my rocks in my Japanese gardens using potatoes. You can use anything. You can use plant pots, you can use footballs, you can use anything, but make sure before you actually plant anything or set your stones, and they will give your garden balance, which is beautiful, that you just pop them down on the ground and see how they look. I would say you should seriously consider stonework. It really looks stunning. Pagoda lanterns, stepping stones, water basins, gravel for paths and plants around, bamboo fencing, screening, all complement or are complemented by stonework. And I can tell you that making a Japanese garden, which I've done at my home, in fact I'm into phase 2 at the moment, is a lot of fun, and you can really be quite artistic. You can use your knowledge when you've done your research, and you can use a little bit of instinct to create a perfect outdoor space that is calm and serene at home. And just imagine you will be the envy of your family and friends. So if you think, well, I'd love a Japanese garden, but I'm limited for time, perhaps you've only got a small budget, then I've got some good news for you. Help is at hand in something called the Japanese Garden Club, which is, in my opinion, because I set it up, quite simply the best tool and the only tool of its kind on the internet that helps people who want to have a Japanese garden at home and all the benefits that Japanese gardens bring. It's an online community that really will show you everything, and I mean everything, and explain it in great detail, and it's easy to understand. We've got videos, interviews, pictures, design plans, everything. It's all in the Japanese Garden Club, and that's at www.thejapanesegardenclub.com. But I've got a little surprise for you. I would like to give you my free design book, and this will give you so many ideas, lots of tips, lots of inspiration for your own authentic and relaxing and calming dream Japanese garden space at home, in your yard or garden. And you can claim a free copy depending on how you're actually viewing this presentation. I've got the web address coming up in the final slide, but the book is called 11 Simple Ways to Turn Your Garden Japanese. And there is the web address right now, www.turnyourgardenjapanese.com. It's a great little book that I've written, he says modestly, but hundreds and hundreds of people from all over the world have downloaded this book and have started making their own Japanese gardens at home, and I'd love you to do the same. And another added bonus, you actually get my weekly Japanese garden newsletter, which is called the Japanese Garden Bulletin as well, if you so wish. Of course, you can just download the book and unsubscribe, which is absolutely fine. I'd love you to stay with me, of course. But anyway, go to www.turnyourgardenjapanese.com, and first up, get the book, have a read through. There's some links to videos in there, and I think it will inspire you to get going. Thanks for watching this video, and good luck with your own Japanese garden.